There's a lot of contention among BMW enthusiasts about which M3 is the best M3. For me, it's the E92. That's why I've owned two of them. Today we're in my 2013 E92 M3. This is the last year of the E92 M3. This is the only generation of M3 that came with a V8. There's a lot of things to love about this car, and I'll get to that in another video, but today I want to talk about the things that I hate. This list is in no particular order. I'm just going to give it numbers so it's easier to keep track of, but we're going to start with the first thing I hate about my M3. Now, this car is a 2013 model year, as I mentioned, and there are a lot of great features that started coming to cars in 2013. But since this was the last year of the generation, BMW didn't really want to integrate those features into an old platform. Understanding that, there's a lot of those features that don't bother me too much. For one, this car doesn't have the option of cooled front seats, which I kind of understand, although BMW doesn't even offer that in the newer M3. Remote start, not a big deal to me. But the thing that drives me crazy is this car doesn't have a backup camera. Backup cameras are mandated for every new car produced in the US now. But in 2013, they were still a very common option. It wasn't even available on any of the M3s. After I sold my first E92 M3, I bought a 2013 Ram 2500 truck, the same model year as this. It came with remote start, cooled seats, and a backup camera. What was BMW thinking? Fortunately, the visibility in this car is not bad at all. Backing up is never really a problem, but a backup camera makes life so much easier no matter what car you're driving, and I can't believe they didn't offer it in this car. Now, speaking of features that were great at the time, this car did come with HID headlights. They're really good, and they even turn with the steering wheel. But it has these strange little corner lights that come on when you turn the wheel really sharply, so you can kind of see beside the car if you're making a tight turn. And those are halogen. And the daytime running lights, the halos around the headlights, those are also halogen. I've upgraded my halos to an LED bulb, but I cannot believe that BMW provided people with a car that had two different color temperature lights within the headlight housing. It looks really bizarre, honestly pretty awful in my opinion. It seems like they could have come up with a better solution for that to at least make them appear more similar. I guess they were trying to save a little bit of money at the time, but this is a $70,000+ car when it was new. It seems like you could have got your headlight color to look the same. Another thing I don't like about this car is how expensive it is to get power out of this thing. An intake, tune, and exhaust, first of all, costs a lot of money. Second of all, gets you almost no power increases at all. BMW really manufactured this thing to be at its full potential all the time, and you have to go built motor or forced induction to get anything else out of it. Currently on my setup, I have an ESS supercharger kit, which when I purchased it was over $11,000, and that's just to make almost 600 wheel horsepower. Almost. Don't get me wrong, 600 wheel is still a lot of power, but for the money you spend, not that much. At the time this vehicle came out in 2007, 414 horsepower with the performance specs that this had was really, really good, especially at the price point. However, towards the later years of this generation, even Ford was coming out with a Mustang GT that put down more power. Granted, most M3 owners are never going to touch a single part of this car with anything aftermarket, and that's okay. But for me, I needed a little bit more. The fourth thing I dislike about my M3 is the iDrive. And let me get specific here. I'm actually one of the few that loves the iDrive system. I think it works really well. The software is really good, especially in the later model years. You get the upgraded software. But I'm not a fan of the buttons now. On my 2008, there was one knob and one menu button. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buttons and the knob. It was very easy to just kind of glance down at your screen and see what you were trying to click on with the old system. And you can still work this system that way, but if you're trying to get to one of these shortcut buttons, you have to look all the way down at the center console, take your eyes completely away from the road to work it at all. To me, I'm kind of surprised they went this route because I was a big fan of the older iDrive controls, believe it or not. The next thing I hate about my M3, there's no physical dipstick. You can go into the computer and it'll tell you that there is oil in the engine, but you have no idea what that oil looks like or if it's actually there. It's all just based off a sensor within the iDrive, which I don't trust that much. I would really like to have a dipstick that I could take out and see my own oil. That's a big problem. Number 6 is going to be another nitpick because, well, it's my car and my video and I want to nitpick it. In an Infiniti G35 Coupe of the same era as this vehicle, which, mind you, cost half the price, when you flip the seats forward to allow people to get into the back, they automatically slide all the way forward. In this one, nope, you got a button. You got to do it yourself. I really wish I had that feature from Infiniti. Number 7 is something they actually changed from the earlier years of this generation, and I'm not really sure why. If you're unaware, there's a button here on the steering wheel that has a circle with an M in the middle of it. That is the M button. That is the fun button. That is the excitement button. That's the button you want to press if you want to drive fast. Now, when you press this button, there's 4 different things that can change. The first one is your EDC, or electronic dampening control, if you have it equipped. Second one, DSC, essentially your traction control. Third one is your power setting, which doesn't actually affect how much power the vehicle has, it really just changes your throttle response. And the fourth one's the Surftronic, or how tight or loose your steering feel is. Now in each one of these, there's various levels of settings. And your DSC, which is, in my opinion, the important one, is on or in dynamic mode. M dynamic mode on a stock power level car is very good at handling traction without cutting in too much and kind of tuning down the power that you have. However, in a supercharged car, the M dynamic mode is not tuned to handle that much more power, so it really cuts in a lot because it thinks it's trying to spin all the time. You can turn your traction control off, however, you have to go down to a button beside the gear shifter and hold it down for a few seconds to do that. Now on the earlier model years of the E92, you could have traction control off programmed into your M button, so as soon as you touched it, it was ready to go. If you want your M mode set up where you go straight to traction control off, you can no longer do that. It used to be one touch, M button done. Now you have to hit your M button and then go down beside your shifter and hold down that traction control button for a few seconds. For the 8th and final thing that I don't like about my M3, we're gonna have to crawl in the back.
Why?
So there you have it, the 8 things I hate about my M3. This was actually a really hard video to do because there's so many things I love about this car, and I will get to those in the next video, but for now I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, you can hit like down below. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you like my content, subscribe, there's more on the way, and I will catch you guys next time.